It's Dr. Crystal here, and welcome to Tower of Faith. I have a quick message for you. It's not our usual Monday, but it is Inspiration Day, and today I am studying for you, and I stumbled upon a system that I've been using for a very long time that came out in this beautiful way, and I just want to share it, and it's about how you can find liberty in your life. I find freedom using this liberty formula that I've created. It's super simple, but it's not easy. And why I say it's simple is it's simple, it's easy to understand, it's easy to follow. You guys, there's no tweaking, nothing to learn. It's one simple step carried along several components of your life, and those components are neatly tucked away for you in the word liberty. So I don't know if this is going to make it into Monday, and I feel like this is such a simple piece that just in case this doesn't make it in, I just want to share with you now in a short, so here we go. So here's what I want you to understand. The intention behind this is to invite you to more freedom. What would give you more freedom in your life right now? Freedom to do the things you want to do, freedom to excel in the way that you want to excel, freedom to take that big leap that you've been really wanting to take that maybe you haven't allowed yourself to do yet. Freedom to live, freedom to quit your job if that's where you are. I'm not recommending quitting your job, and this is not financial advice, but freedom to do those things. And the ability to know if it's time so that you can do those logical pieces and the analysis to make those choices comes first from the decision within you that you are free to do it. So there's one simple step in order to invite that freedom, and that is to become intentional with every area of your life to invite liberty. And you do this by first tuning in what are the areas of my life. So we're going to start with L. Is that the L for you? Liberty. Liberty, the L is language. So I discovered some interesting words in 2013 that I had never spoken before as a pastor's kid. And quite frankly, I love them. I think they're fabulous words. I do not feel like any connection to my spirituality, and those words are connected. So this is not about the language you use regarding whether it's considered foul or okay by society. This is your language, the language you're speaking in your head, the language you're speaking into your existence, the language you're speaking into your life. And so the one step that we're going to have is to be intentional. That's it. Remember, this is a one-step simple process. It's the practice that takes work. So we're going to be intentional with our language. So what does that mean, Crystal? If I'm saying, well, it's not about whether you use curse words. It's about the way that the language empowers you. If you've gone deep in any studies of language, then you've learned that there are, and especially those of you who perhaps are a little on the witchy side, you may already know this. And it's not because it's witchy knowledge, it's information that witches would know. And that would be that language is written in a way to cast spells. There's a reason we call it spelling, right? But if you haven't thought about that before, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I want you to understand that words have power. Every religious aspect everywhere of God talks about the power of sound. Every creation is sound. God spoke into existence. Regardless of your belief, there's power in those words, especially once we speak them. And I could do a whole teaching on that. We're not going to do that today. But the value and the power of your words and the language, the sounds we make when we speak, it impacts things. That is the creative force in our life. So be intentional with your language. The next one is your inputs. So liberty, L-I, for those linear people who need to follow along. Inputs. What are the inputs? So I'm going to remember, one step, be intentional with the liberty areas of your life. So inputs. I'm going to be intentional. Intentional let me just pause here for those who maybe haven't played with intention a lot, because this is going to change your life. Oprah Winfrey is seen multiple venues stating that the power of her show changed when she stopped just doing shows for what people will react and started being intentional with her message. What was the intention of the show? And every show had an intention that they verbally and intentionally and explicitly clarified before the show began. So what is that intention, that vision you have of this, the outcome you want to hold, the energy that you want to put behind it? Intention. It's the I intend, right? But it's the giving power, the reason I'm doing this. If I get on this show today and my intention is to get attention from you, then I might approach it differently than if it is to teach you, right? My intention today is to teach from a liberty system that I've been using, and I have mastered ultimate freedom. It's pretty cool. So, and I found that faith is a big part of that journey, and a part that many have shared. They struggled. So here I am saying, here's my gift. So the next one is, as you're being intentional with your inputs, then that includes the music you listen, the oh, by the way, I forgot this one. In language, complaining, griping, always trying to fix things, that's language. If your language isn't mostly powerful, your language is not going to be effective. So, powerful meaning, is it putting you in the direction you want? Is it taking you there? Are you moving? Are you driving forward in that words and the language that you use? Does it sound like words that you want to hear in your life? That's how you know if it's working. Does it am I speaking into life what I want, not what I don't? That's a lesson for another day, but the universe does not hear no. It just hears what you're speaking. So inputs, what are the inputs? So just as I am using my language going out, what's coming in? What are those inputs? What am I watching if I watch television or movies? What am I listening on the radio? What, whose company am I keeping, so that what are their inputs and the kind of conversations that they keep? What are the foods I'm putting in my body? Yes, I'm talking about food today. How many people just wish we could eat whatever we wanted and nothing changed? You don't really wish that. I know you think you do. Like, oh, I would eat whatever I want. I used to think so. And then I realized how powerful and fabulous the human body is to take all of the crap that we put in and to adjust accordingly to continue our survival. That's fantastic and magical. So be mindful of those inputs. What's bringing stress in versus what's bringing peace and tranquility and harmony in? What foods are you eating? Are they aligned with who you are as a human? Does it feel good in your soul? Is this in harmony with what your body wants to support and sustain its life? Not what other people said is okay. Don't give up animals because someone else said to do it. If your body says, "I don't want that animal as a dead being in me anymore," then stop. But if your body, I fluctuate on that, and my body asks for different things at different seasons, and what I'm going through in my perhaps hormonal cycle, or what I'm going through in my life cycle. And when you use your brain, you need more carbs, right? So I'm a teacher. So sometimes you have to accommodate extra things into your life and diet, not because of society. So what are those inputs? Again, being intentional with those, not letting someone outside of you determine what those are for you, but finding that out for yourself. And so then we move on to behaviors. I promise this was a short, and it's probably not going to be because it's a beautiful system, but here it is. You can watch me in two speed if you like. I already speak fast though. So behaviors. So the next one in Liberty is B, and that is behaviors. Now we're going to be intentional about the behaviors. What is it I actually do? So it's, what do I speak? What's the language I use? What do I put in? And now what do I do? What are the behaviors that I choose? Are the habits and the practices that I choose serving to the intention that I want? And so before reacting, before using your words, before putting something in, what is the behavior I intend to do here? What was the intention of this behavior? You could achieve cleaning your house in multiple ways. You could hire someone, you can do it yourself, you can call a friend over for help. You can do it slowly across a couple week process. You can do it all in one day. There's so many ways to achieve it, but they're all still with the same intention. The behavior, then you look and say, well, what do I want? Do I want a clean home now? Or do I want to, maybe your intention is I want to enjoy the process. Like I want it to be easy. Okay, well, I'm going to take a few days to get my whole house clean versus scrubbing and working hard all day on the whole thing in once. Or I have guests coming. I want to show up in the nicest way possible and show them like my sparkling clean house because it makes me feel good to present that forward. Remember, it's never about them. It's not about them judging your sparkling house or not sparkling. It's about how do you feel inviting someone in, right? So always it's coming from here. Your liberty, your freedom cannot come from out there. It must come from here. So keep that in mind. So what are the behaviors that I choose? And am I being aware, right? Intention is just being aware and then directing that awareness so that you have a purpose behind it. And so what am I choosing to do? Behaviors. Yeah. And then we go to E. You can guess what that E is because E equals MC squared. Thank you, Einstein. Energy. There's so much in life that is energy, and some things take energy from you, some things add energy to you, some things are neutral, some cost a lot over here and give it back later. Sometimes you give a lot of energy to one place and you get that energy back from somewhere else. So I just want you to be aware that energy is all of the interchange that flows and moves. That includes money. Because money is your energy put into the world and some recognition. The money is the way, the tangible thing we get to recognize the energy you've given. And whether that's matched or not matched, that's a debate for another day as well. If we could go deep, this system, as you can see, could take us on an entire year of teachings. But what is the energy, and am I being intentional with the energy that I put into the world and bring to something, energy that I extract from something, energy that, I can be aware of how being with certain people or in certain environments might affect your energy. All of these factors, if you can become more intentional with the way you expend energy. By the way, this is the number one piece in the harmonizing your money, right? Is like, let's look at where the energy goes. If you understand where the energy is flowing, then you understand what you're doing, right? And maybe sometimes you can see where these would start to work together. Now that I have awareness and intention with the energy, I can adjust my behavior to also align and support me in that vision. And then that behavior maybe is checking my food, which is the inputs, right? And speaking life into my body rather than complaining about the things. So see how all of this works together. And so as we get that energy and intentional energy, the next piece we want to do is to pay attention to our relationships. What is the intention with the relationships you have in your life? The truth to liberty isn't total freedom and I'm independent from everyone. And it's not, I'm in community and I disappear and I'm so interdependent that I'm not an individual. It is that balance of whatever is right for you. And so we're not talking about romantic partnerships only, although that's part of relationships, but we're talking about your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your siblings or your parents or your children, or if you have people in your family who are no longer part of your family or your life, the friends around you, your what we like to call chosen family here at Tower of Faith. And what are those chosen family relationships? What are the relationships with your boss? What are your relationships with your business? What are your relationships with Earth? Oh my gosh, Pachamama, Mother Gaia. What is your relationship with this Earth that gives us life? That is literally we've come forth from this Earth. What is your relationship with that? Do you feel nervous and afraid because we're killing her, or do you feel delighted and excited that we're here and perhaps mindful of the earth but without fear? So you can choose. You pay attention, and wherever you are, it's okay. You don't have to be at the level that I am, and please don't. Please be better than me always. but be at your level where you are. And that's what's going to invite and entice you, how you use that energy, how you put it into those relationships, how you acknowledge the relationships that deserve and require, and your willingness is there to give more than you get at seasons or times in your life. Those relationships where you receive more, and to allow understanding that it's not all a zero sum game where I give you something and you give me something and we're done. Perhaps I give you something today and I never meet you, but you take this piece and you pour it into someone else. That's paying it forward. But what about the part where now me, I'm going to turn it right back to me. I'm giving here with no expectation of receiving back. And then perhaps then because of that, I might get into a void, right? So this is that relationship. So all relationships don't have to be balanced. I'm teaching today and I don't mean to, but I there are some things that just have to be said. And I promise I'm going to wrap this up soon. And well, as you begin to imagine those relationships in your life, it's really important to receive as well. And this is a piece I have worked on over the years. I'm pretty good at it now. Um, I'm still working on enlarging my territory, as I like to call it, in that way. But where can you receive? So if you are giving more than you're getting in one place, perhaps just pay attention to where life might be giving you more than you need to give. And to number one, don't be attached to the flow being from the same. Allow the flow, but also, and I find many people struggle with this, allow yourself to receive. Because the importance of keeping relationships healthy is that you've got a full and rounded ecosystem of relationships flowing so that when one is in over mode of you giving, there's another that's perhaps giving more to you. And that is the cycle and flow of that. And being intentional with how you approach relationships gives you the gift of navigating that and finding harmony within yourself. Okay, I'm done with that one. This was supposed to be a short one to teach you, but I mean, let's just say this is such good stuff. I'm going to go back and watch it myself later. Oh, this is good. So this downloaded, but I sat with the idea of freedom and the system dropped in. This is the same thing I've always been doing, but I didn't realize it spelled a word. So today I found out it spelled a word, and that's why I had to share. Next one, thoughts. So we've talked about your language and your behaviors and inputs and all of these parts, but what about the thoughts? So the next piece to liberty is to start to have intention with your thoughts. And your thoughts do not match the intention, allow them to stop. If you stop yourself mid thought and don't complete the thought when you know it's not working for you, you will not die. Okay, you will not die. It is okay to stop, to allow it, to tell the brain, thank you, but cancel that order. We're not going to continue that thought train. I actually have something else for you to do over here that's much more important. Please let that go. Thank you and goodbye. So allowing those thoughts to be what they are and then checking them when they're not intentional. This is again bringing back the awareness and the intention. Why would I sit and have a period? I love thinking. In fact, if I don't have at least 4 or 5 days a week where I have some space in the morning to sit with a cup of coffee and think, I'm not well. So I'll start to fight for that. I'll notice that, oh, I'm not okay. What's going on? Oh, practices. One of my key practices is actually to just sit and think. Wisdom is my gift. Thinking is, I guess, my tool. So, what are the thoughts? And the more and more you can become mindful of those thoughts, the more you can empower. So, the language would automatically begin to change. So, you speak the language intentionally until the thoughts catch up, and then the thoughts will begin to fuel. And by the way, the thoughts fuel the emotions. So there's that whole thing. I'm not asking you, by the way, to be intentional about emotions, because emotions come, to be mindful of them, certainly, but we're not going to force any emotion ever. We're going to notice emotions and then navigate these other parts of liberty to get to the emotions we want. It's not ever about controlling or navigating emotion. Navigating, yes, controlling, never emotions. So, what are the thoughts? Being intentional about the thoughts. For me, this is one of the biggest ones, right? It's easy to shut your mouth and silence and do all the things to stop to stop the okay. I don't have words. I can just stop. But the thoughts, Especially if you're a thinking person like me, it's always going. So how do I do that? You don't try to stop them. I think it's nonsense to say I'm going to sit here and I'm a thinking person and I'm going to sit for an hour and not have one thought. But what if we could then direct those thoughts and be mindful with those thoughts and allow the thoughts, but go, okay, thank you, but no, this doesn't serve. How can I make that more serving? And direct, be the director of your own life. Be intentional with your thoughts. And finally, the why. This is your yeses. Be intentional with your yes. Say yes when you mean yes. Don't hold back because someone else you think, whatever those limiting factors might be. Don't hold back because of that. Let your yes be yes. If you say yes, mean yes, follow through with yes. Align that yes. If you do not mean yes, hold that yes tight. This is the piece I find that most people need support. Hold your yeses tight and close to your chest. They are precious. You only have so many to give away because at some level, you have 24 hours, right? Even if you hire other people, you've got to manage those people. So there's only so much time we can get. There's only so much everything in these resources that we're talking about. These are your personal resources that you have in life, these liberty items, right? The ability to use your language, your input, your behaviors, your energy, your relationships, your thoughts, and even how you say yes. That's limited in what you can really provide to the world. So hold those yeses until they're truly, truly, truly your yes. And then when you do give it, mean it and hold to it. Because we didn't talk about integrity here, because integrity is not something you intend. You adjust. Integrity is something that is a measurement of the ways that you adjust these pieces. So we have these liberty elements. If you're looking for freedom in your life, follow this liberty plan one step. Tune in to intention. So what's intention mean? I bring awareness to what's happening, or mindfulness, like some people like to say, awareness or mindfulness, and then I direct with purpose what I use, what I choose in that moment. So intention, awareness, and direction of purpose with your liberty elements. And that's going to bring you so much freedom. Oh my gosh, life is so juicy when you get to choose every single day. And some days, I'm not saying I'm happy every day, guys, like not even a little bit. Some days I'm like, meh, 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 meh. And so I have created a challenge. This is not going to be a timed challenge. This is a timeless challenge for you, dear friends of Tower of Faith. Whenever you come here and you see this, I challenge you to do what I'm starting today, and that is 21 days of mindfulness on our BLTs. So we're not going to try to tackle all steps of liberty process at once. That's kind of a lot. But because I'm already kind of there and I've been practicing this, so if it's brand new to you, pick one, just one. I would start with language. If you're going to pick just one, start with the words you speak. You can choose and you can stop yourself mid sentence to control the language, become aware, and become more purposeful with your language. That's step one. I am choosing and setting out today to do 21 days of this exceptionally focused mindfulness, this intentional decision making with my behaviors, the way I use my energy, my time, and like my behaviors. What do I do? What do I put in my body? How do I, am I sitting around wishing I could do something, or am I doing it? So paying attention, just mindfulness, and being more intentional that the behaviors I choose will take me forward. My language, no complaining, no negative language, no figuring it out or criticism of anyone. It's all positive, all here for 21 days. That's the goal. And then, so our BLTs, our behaviors, our language, and thoughts. So I'm taking this one up for myself because language, I do okay pretty quickly. So by the third or fourth day, I'll probably already have my language adjusted. So I'm going to also begin to mind those thoughts. So for 21 days, I'm going to track. And if I get through a day that I didn't allow any negative thoughts, behaviors, or or language to finish, right? It doesn't mean it didn't start because we're human, but if I didn't allow any of that to finish, I'm going to give myself a star for that day. So my goal is to get as many stars as possible in 21 days and see where it goes. When you see this, I'm doing this in 2022 in October. When you see this video, whatever it is for you, go after it. Go chase that liberty, that freedom, because it is up to you. It is inside of you. You have the power. I believe in you. This talk has been even longer than my Monday talks are supposed to be, but I believe this breakdown will help you. I believe that having this, and I'll probably refer to it on Monday, but having this system right there in front of you gives you that simple way to take a step forward if you don't know where else to start. So if you've been looking for ways to increase your faith, ways to find faith again, ways to come in to harmonize the old faith that you had and the gifts of that, or and the ways to what you now believe, then I stay tuned in, subscribe to this channel, click the like button, do all those things everyone says to do. I'm not a social media person, so maybe somebody will edit this out later, but for now you're going to see it. Do all the things, share with your friends. If you feel anyone else has struggled with faith, this is a little experiment we're doing just to speak out and see if anyone has anything that they would like us to share. So reach out to us, crystal@crystalgifford.com will get you to my email. And I'd love to hear your story. Comment in the comment section. Let us know how we can address your faith and continue to build for you the ability to have faith in this human journey and faith in yourself. Much love. Thank you. And I will see you next time or Monday.